Uncover 10 incredible volcano facts that will inspire you to dream and transform your perspective. Mia Thompson stared at the looming silhouette of Mount Sibyl, its shadow creeping into the small bustle of Ashwood, stirring deep emotions. The mountain was as much a part of her identity as the engineering degree she had fought tooth and nail to achieve. Yet, amid the grandeur, a gnawing sense of inadequacy settled in the pit of her stomach. The recent loss of her father, a beloved environmentalist, had stripped away any semblance of certainty about her future. The dusty journal she discovered in the attic only confirmed what she feared. Her father's dreams had been grand, plans to harness the volcano's geothermal energy for the whole community, dreams she felt unworthy of pursuing. The men in her field often overshadowed her. In meetings, their voices rung louder, their ideas accepted without question, while hers landed softly, brushed aside. Now her father's legacy hovered over her, a haunting reminder of both what was at stake and what she could lose. The ambiguity of her own aspirations tangled with the expectations resting on her shoulders. What if she failed? What if, despite her genius, she couldn't measure up to her father's passion or the lofty expectations of herself? A surge of anxiety twisted within her. She could either chase the dream that felt like beauty itself, or stay buried beneath the weight of corporate ambitions represented by TerraCorp, arriving with plans to exploit the volcano. Mia felt a sudden burst of anger at the corporation, who would stifle the very essence of her hometown for profit. Yet fear creeped in, fear of losing her job, of alienating herself from the very community that scrutinized her decisions. Faces washed over her thoughts, her peers, their contempt mixed with admiration, torn between wanting her to succeed but eyeing her with the scrutiny reserved for those failing the image of success. What if they saw her as naive, a dreamer with no business bringing her father's legacy into a world driven by profit? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she struggled through designs with Daniel Reed, her enthusiasm occasionally flickered, only to be snuffed out by the murmurs of doubt within her. The memory of the journal loomed like Mount Sibyl itself, majestic yet unapproachable. She could hear her father's voice urging her to stand her ground against a backdrop of corporate tyranny. Each time she envisioned presenting her plans, a knot of dread curled within her. How could she contend with years of industry wisdom against the background of an unyielding mountain? Standing before the council, her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the podium. The journal, a symbol of hope and heritage, laying heavy and silent before her. The murmurs of skepticism echoed. Here she was, at the precipice of a choice that could either uphold her father's legacy or deliver her life into the corporate hands of TerraCorp. Her breath quickened as the room became suffocatingly quiet, the anticipation thickening. How could she claim her dreams when the world felt insistent on reducing her aspirations to mere fantasies? The unsteady silence broke, and a voice from behind cut through her uncertainty. Questions rose, and the weight of both hope and dread inched closer, forcing Mia to confront the very core of her ambition. Would she take the leap? The responsibility of protecting a legacy or relinquishing her future now tangled in the air, leaving her poised on the edge of a monumental choice. Mia's heart raced as she steadied herself, drawing in a deep breath to quell the tremors rippling through her body. The recognition that this moment held more than just her fate surged within her. Her father's dreams were woven into this very foundation upon which she stood. As she gazed out at the council, their expectant eyes bore into her. some faces etched with skepticism, others hinting at curiosity. "Good afternoon," she began, her voice unsteady yet firm. Every word was laden with the weight of a legacy pushed against a wall of corporate interests. "I want to talk about harnessing the geothermal energy of Mount Sibyl, not just for profit, but to create sustainable alternatives for our community." The murmurs shifted to a low buzz, one of discontent and disbelief. She could feel Daniel's glare from somewhere in the room, the corner of his mouth twitching into a smirk that ignited a flame within her. In that moment, defiance welled up, and she decided to abandon the intro she had rehearsed 100 times. Instead, she reflected on the journal, the honest sketches, and her father's passionate notes urging bold action. Imagine a world where the energy needs of Ashwood are met without digging into the environment and creating further scars on our land, she pressed on, her voice finding strength. "We have the technology to create a win-win solution, not only to provide energy, but to protect what we cherish about this place." The skepticism was palpable. One council member, his brow furrowed, leaned forward. "Mia, this sounds idealistic at best. TerraCorp has decades of experience. What makes you think a young engineer can convince us this proposal is feasible?" The challenge hung in the air like a dark cloud, threatening to overshadow whatever flicker of hope she had ignited. Mia's thoughts raced. She wasn't just representing her vision, she was embodying her father's ideals, the life he breathed. Into every dream he dared to chase. "It's not about experience for the sake of experience," she stated, forcing her tone to remain steady. "It's about vision, innovation, and courage to challenge the old ways. My father believed in keeping Ashwood vibrant and alive. If we keep feeding corporations who only want to exploit us, we'll lose our identity." Caught in the momentum of her words, she felt the breath of a shift, a glimmer of recognition in the eyes of a few council members. Mia's confidence in her knowledge wrestled with the reality of their doubts, a mental tug-of-war playing out as they turned to whisper amongst themselves. Just as Mia thought she might have pierced the veil of skepticism, Daniel shot up from his seat. "This is naive," he scoffed, cutting through the room's tension. "Thermal energy projects require substantial investments. You have no data, no solid plans. Why waste our time?" The air froze, silence pressing in again. It was now or never. If there was any hope of seeing her vision flourish, she needed to silence not just the council, but her own doubts. "You're right, I lack your extensive data sets," she admitted, her voice calm yet determined. "But I have something data cannot express, a desire to make a change, to not settle for a future dictated by short-sighted interests." The words carried an unexpected weight, a blend of strength and vulnerability that drew eyes back to her. The very essence of her father's spirit infused her perspective, making her feel lifted. Yet Daniel's response had left a scar of uncertainty. Would the council rally behind an ideal without the expertise they valued so deeply? Just then, the council chairwoman spoke, her voice cutting through the oppressive air once more. "Let's take a vote on whether to move forward with reviewing Mia's proposal." In that moment, Mia felt the precipice beneath her shift perilously. What lay on the other side could build or obliterate everything she had strived for. The results of this vote would decide if she could honor her father or plunge deeper into a corporate maze. What would the council choose? As hands raised, Mia gripped the journal tighter, the looming question unfurling before her. Would it be enough to rely on conviction alone? The council chamber felt like a dungeon, the tension palpable as she waited for the outcome of the vote. Time slowed, every second an agonizing reminder of her investment in this moment. Mia's heart thudded against her ribcage like a trapped bird, desperate for freedom. She focused on the chairwoman's stern face, watching as each hand in the room hesitated, swaying toward one side or the other. Finally, the chairwoman's voice broke the silence. "The vote is in favor. 4-3. Relief washed over her. Though it felt laced with uncertainty, the council had chosen to review her proposal, granting her a flicker of hope, an opportunity to present the data Daniel had claimed she lacked. But with it came a suffocating wave of expectations. She had secured a chance, yes, but the scrutiny would only deepen. As the meeting adjourned, Mia collected her journal, feeling the weight of her father's legacy pressing against her. Stepping outside, fresh air greeted her like a gentle reminder of the life waiting beyond the confines of the chamber. Yet, the freedom it offered felt shackled by a newfound task. She needed not only to prove the feasibility of geothermal energy, but to also build a narrative robust enough to confront corporate interests again. Back in her small apartment, the walls adorned with her father's sketches, she opened her journal once more. She flipped through the pages filled with dreams and formulas, the inked outlines of her father's life, balancing between art and science. In that moment, a revelation struck her. Innovation and empathy weren't mutually exclusive. Understanding the community's needs alongside technological advancements could create a compelling argument. Mia dove into research, sifting through countless studies on geothermal technology, its benefits, and successful implementations in other regions. With each piece of information, her confidence grew, yet so did her realization of her limitations. Hours would pass, filled with calculations and notes, yet moments of self-doubt lingered as shadows in the corners of her mind. But she refused to back down. Each critique she had faced at the council pressed her further, turning her analytical approach into a strategic campaign, forging a precise narrative that interwove technical details with the stories of Ashwood's residents. She started reaching out to local environmentalists, sharing her vision and gathering testimonials that could strengthen her proposal. As the days morphed into sleepless nights, Mia began to sense a shift in herself. Each conversation sparked the fire of determination, propelling her toward a greater understanding of leadership. She was no longer the reluctant engineer, merely operating within her father's shadow. She was becoming an advocate for change, poised to empower a future for Ashwood. Still, a familiar weight pressed upon her shoulders. The council meeting was looming. Each passing moment carved deeper lines of fear and excitement into her resolve. The final presentation needed to be immaculate, fortified by both data and the emotional truths that connected the community's plight to her innovative solution. At the very edge of her preparation, doubt pierced through once more. What if the council valued numbers over heart? The thought clenched her gut. The equations on the pages of her journal felt constrained by an unforgiving reality. Would she be able to ignite their change in perspective? In that moment of uncertainty, she inhaled deeply, remembering the promise she'd made to herself and her father. She would find a way to meld logic with passion, to make them see beyond mere statistics. As she gathered her notes for one last review, a thought dawned on her, a notion that merged innovation with vulnerability. Perhaps it wasn't just about geothermal energy, it was about inspiring trust. Her father had always believed in the extraordinary potential of human connection. With renewed vigor, she scribbled notes for a personal story, the irrefutable truth of her own passion. As she prepared for the next council meeting, the stakes felt impossibly high, but so did the potential for growth. Mia closed her journal, standing at the cusp of something transformative. The time had come to cultivate that trust she needed, not only from the council, but within herself. Yet, as she thought about the upcoming presentation, a looming question lingered. Would the council truly see the power behind innovation when faced with the wall of corporate profit? Mia awoke with a renewed sense of purpose, her nerves tingling with the promise of today's council meeting. The early morning light streamed through her window, illuminating the sketches her father had left behind. They adorned the walls like windows to a forgotten world of passion and possibility. She allowed their energy to wash over her, fueling her determination. As she prepared for the day, Mia's routine felt more deliberate than it had in months. Every step, boiling water for coffee, gathering her notes, slipping into her understated blazer, was a ritual laden with significance. The stakes were undeniably high, and she felt the weight of both her own aspirations and her father's legacy. The stories she had gathered swirled in her mind, snippets of lives intertwined with the land, waiting to be shared. Arriving at the council building was an exercise in controlled chaos. Mia navigated through familiar hallways, each brick a reminder of past failures, whispers of doubt clinging to her as tightly as her blazer buttons. The anticipation in the air was palpable. She could sense the factions assembling, the skeptics poised to poke holes in her proposal. Her thoughts raced as she waited in the hall. She had spent the last few days honing her narrative, infusing her data with heartfelt testimonials that reflected the struggles of Ashwood's residents. Yet the lingering fear of confrontation dulled her resolve. What if this presentation became a battlefield rather than a discussion? Each second stretched, and she steadied her breathing, visualizing success. When her name was finally called, Mia stepped into the chamber and faced the council members. The table loomed before her, a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play. She could feel their eyes boring into her, each gaze a judgment she needed to withstand. "Thank you for the opportunity to present," she began, her voice trembling yet unwavering. The council's chairs creaked as they settled, intent on her every word. This was her moment. She could feel the gravity of it. She dove into her presentation, weaving together facts about geothermal energy with the stories she had painstakingly collected. The data was solid, but she felt the real strength came from the vulnerability of her narrative. Mia shared her father's journey, the struggles that had shaped her desire for a sustainable future. She talked of families in Ashwood who longed for clean energy solutions, of the children whose futures depended on the decisions made today. As she spoke, Mia noticed a subtle shift among the council members. One or two leaned in slightly, their expressions softening, an openness she hadn't expected. Encouraged, she pressed on, intertwining statistics with the rich tapestry of community need. Yet, just when hope surged in her chest, Daniel's voice cut through her momentum. "You think numbers alone will convince us, Mia? Emotion doesn't power our economy." The words hit like a stone, echoing through the chamber. Mia felt a wave of heat rush through her, a reaction primed by insecurities. But instead of retreating, she leaned forward, driven by a fire that had been waiting to ignite. "The economy thrives through sustainable solutions, Daniel," she countered, locking eyes with him. "My data represents not just potential profit, but a commitment to creating a future where families can thrive, not just survive." The tension in the room thickened. Daniel's challenge had opened the door, a confrontation that beckoned her to dig deeper. She could feel the collective energy shifting, eyes flickering between her and Daniel, sparking a dynamic she could harness. Mia recognized this moment as a turning point. It wasn't just about delivering a proposal, it was about sparking a dialogue. She didn't need to convince everyone outright. She needed to make them question their assumptions, to see her vision as an alternative, one filled with both technological promise and human connection. As she prepared her closing, her mind raced. Could she craft a message powerful enough to shift the tide? Mia felt an instinctual pull, a hidden reservoir of strength waiting to be tapped. What if we don't make this decision today solely based on numbers? What if we step beyond our preconceived notions of profit and sustainability to create both? The room fell silent, her invitation lingering in the air. She had planted a seed, but could it take root against the hardened landscape of skepticism? Only time would tell as she awaited their verdict, a tangible fusion of determination and uncertainty swirling inside her. Just as the weight of silence settled in, the chairwoman spoke up, her expression inscrutable. "Let us consider Mia's perspective further." And suddenly, Mia understood. This wasn't the end of a presentation. It was the beginning of an evolving conversation that could shift her world forever. But could she maintain the momentum and cultivate trust before the council closed the door once more? Mia sat in silence, the murmurs of the council buzzing like static in her mind. Slowly, she adjusted her posture in the chair, striving to project confidence despite the maelstrom within. The chairwoman's words had opened a window of possibility, yet Mia felt as if she were perched on a precipice. What if this opening led her to a place of rejection instead of alliance? Taking a deep breath, she committed to the moment. Her gaze scanned the room, observing the subtle shifts in the others' expressions. Some council members appeared contemplative, but Daniel was not among them. His stubborn glare was a challenge, an impenetrable wall in her path. The discussion began to swirl around her, with various members tossing out opinions and statistics. It became a cacophony of voices, and Mia's heart raced as she realized just how many were willing to interject their arguments against her proposal. Each time Daniel spoke, his words felt like arrows aimed at her core. We cannot prioritize emotional narratives over real economic opportunities, he insisted, framing the opposition in a language that resonated with some and alienated others. Mia's mind whirled. She had prepared for this eventuality, but now that it was here, her well-rehearsed retorts felt inadequate. She took a moment, focusing instead on the strength within her, the certainty that her vision was rooted in the well-being of her community, not merely in idealistic dreams. Daniel, can we at least agree that profitability and sustainability can coexist? She interjected, her voice steadier than she felt. What we're faced with is not merely a choice between two extremes, but an opportunity to redefine what success looks like. We aren't paving the way just for profits. We're forging a path for real people living in Ashwood. Those words hung in the air, sparking a ripple of curiosity amongst a few council members. Mia observed as some leaned slightly forward, as if the mere shift in their bodies represented a shift in perspective. It was a small victory, but it fueled her determination to press onward. Daniel resumed his stance, eyes narrowing, unwilling to cede ground. You provide hope, but the truth requires calculations, not dreams, he countered. The sour taste of dismissal lingered between them, and the fatigue of years of fighting for recognition washed over her. Mia anchored herself to her purpose. She couldn't allow this moment of confrontation to derail her drive. Instead, she thought about her father's sketches again, those echoes of dreams that had become drawers of dust. Hope and calculations can coexist, Daniel. What you see as emotional appeal, I see as a structured opportunity for growth. Our energy future lies in balancing innovation with responsibility. The shift was palpable. Murmurs arose among others in the room, this time infused with a hint of support rather than resistance. Mia recognized then that the heart of her battle was not merely academic or emotional. It lay in bridging the gap between disparate ideas, translating her vision into terms they could understand. As the dialogue continued to evolve, she framed her next points with intention, focusing her lens not on conflict, but collaboration. Mia was no longer an outsider. She was actively weaving herself into the fabric of the council. With each question posed, with every potential quelling of dismissals transformed into invitations for deeper discourse, Mia discovered a newfound capability, a gift for persuasion that she had not realized was within her. But just as she felt the tide beginning to shift, another interruption jostled her back into reality. A council member newly arrived to the meeting, Gary, raised his hand, seeking to stake a claim in the conversation. While I appreciate the momentum, what if we schedule further research before moving forward? Is that the prudent strategy? Suddenly, Mia felt the ground tremble beneath her once more, the risk of stagnation creeping into view. The idea of postponement hung over her like a dark cloud, threatening to extinguish the flicker of hope she had ignited. The urgency pounded in her chest. Would they allow her the chance to propel this conversation into further action, or would it get postponed, shelved into oblivion? The pressure was inescapable, and in that moment, Mia realized she needed to pivot yet again. She had to strike while the iron was hot before the council lost their enthusiasm entirely. As the discussion heightened, Mia anticipated how she could further intrigue them, something unexpected that would force their hands, draw them irrevocably toward a resolution. But what bold strategy could she employ to keep the momentum alive, not just for today, but for every day thereafter? The thoughts spun through her mind like a whirlwind, bringing with them the fear of failure that sat at the center of her anxiety, mingling dangerously with determination. Mia took a step back, unsure if she was prepared to face this new challenge, while every instinct drew her forward. Time was unraveling, and the foundation of her dream hung in the balance. Would her daring maneuver catch the council by surprise, or would it collapse under the weight of her own doubts? The hum of the council room faded, and in its place, Mia could hear the thunderous beat of her heart. The storm brewing within her propelled her into action. She couldn't allow the momentum to slip away. Gary's suggestion loomed over her like a shadow, threatening to dull the excitement she just ignited. She needed to act confidently, not merely react to every individual blockade thrown into her path. "What if," she began, the warmth of resolve creeping into her voice, "we were to implement a pilot project, something tangible that we could evaluate before making a final decision?" The idea blossomed in her mind, asserting itself as a beacon amid the chaos. If we can demonstrate real results in a localized context, will that not give you the evidence you need to support this initiative? Her proposition created a pause in the room. Mia watched as several members pondered her suggestion, exchanging glances that conveyed their curiosity. Daniel, however, seized the chance to respond, his voice as sharp as before. "A pilot project? You know that entails time, resources, and investment up front. It only complicates an already contentious situation." Mia leaned forward, intentionally softening her demeanor, creating a contrast with Daniel's harshness. She spoke with conviction, her words threaded with the urgency of her vision. "What's more complicated is doing nothing at all. We can't afford to sit on our hands while the world changes around us. A pilot can actually provide the data we need to navigate these changes confidently. This is proactive leadership." The tension in the room shifted. A few members were nodding, while others appeared visibly torn, grappling with the implications of a bold new course of action. Mia felt the energy vibrating around her, and for the first time since the meeting began, she embraced the notion that she could indeed lead this conversation toward a decisive conclusion. She seized the moment, refocusing the discussion. "Imagine if we could present that pilot project to the public, the visible steps we're taking to innovate while being responsible stewards of our community. It would position the council as leaders rather than laggards in the evolving energy landscape. This isn't just about numbers, it's about changing perceptions." The council members' expressions shifted again. This was different, bolder. Mia could see the sparks of intrigue. She remembered her father's passion for storytelling and how he had often told her that the most effective narratives change lives. This was her story, her narrative unfolding before them. "Before I continue," Mia interjected again, suddenly aware of Gary's earlier question regarding research. "Let's redirect that concern into an opportunity. A pilot project will intrinsically involve gathering data. The proposal would outline discrete phases: gathering research, initial rollout, and ongoing evaluation. This is not an either-or situation. We can work together toward an actionable path." To her surprise, Daniel recoiled slightly, processing this new angle while the atmosphere began to buzz with excitement. The approach seemed to diminish his power, and for a fleeting moment, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. "An exact timeline will be crucial, Mia, if you're proposing we act now," he cautioned, though a hint of his former intensity had sprinkled with hesitation. His defensive posture had shifted, revealing a crack in the wall he had erected. Mia realized then that this was her chance. She could not falter now. "We can have a proposal drafted by the end of the month. I'll take on more responsibility to ensure that the pilot is executed swiftly and effectively." Her voice rang with conviction, and for the first time, the council appeared to lean toward her initiative with eagerness. The energy was palpable as her words landed. Yet as the discussions began to turn once more toward logistics, she felt that familiar surge of doubt whispering in her ear. What if her promise of rapid results did not materialize? What if she was pushing too hard, too fast? The pressure was building, yet her determination ignited a spark she needed to maintain. As the conversation transitioned to specifics regarding the pilot, Mia grew aware of the pivotal crossroads ahead. This was not just a council meeting, but a reflection of her capabilities, a litmus test of her professional growth. If she faltered in delivering on this promise, it could unravel everything she had fought for. With each detail about the project's foundation shared among the council members, Mia contemplated the fine line she walked between ambition and anxiety. Could she truly uphold what she had just committed to? Suddenly, the chairwoman called for a break. Mia took a deep breath, allowing the tension to subside momentarily, wondering if this brief intermission was a graceful pause in her story or a Pandora's box of uncertainties yet to unfold. As she rose from her seat, mentally strategizing a confident forward path, she resolved to invest herself fully into this pilot project. But as she stepped away from the discussion, she couldn't shake the fear that there was more lurking beneath the surface, something that could disrupt her fragile momentum. Was it her own fear of the unknown, or a genuine threat from Daniel and the others who remained unmoved? The question lingered in the air as she turned to face the council again, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Mia paced the hallway outside the council room, grappling with the gravity of her recent commitment. The electrifying moments in the meeting replayed in her mind, and each replay brought a fresh wave of anxiety. What if the pilot project failed? What if the data she cherished so much pointed in an unfavorable direction? She halted, leaning against the cool wall, her heart racing. She began to replay the conversations she'd had with her father about perseverance. He had faced many challenges in his career, always stressing the importance of learning from failures. "It's how you rise that defines you," he would say. And for a moment, she clutched that wisdom tightly, grounding herself amidst the whirlpool of doubt. With renewed determination, Mia resolved that embracing her fears was critical to her growth. She would delve into the complexities of the pilot's execution, equipping herself with viable solutions before presenting to the council again. The pressure wouldn't evaporate. It had transformed into a challenge, one that she needed to unravel methodically. As she re-entered the council room, she observed the members retreating to their discussions, voices lowered but animated. Daniel stood with a cluster of colleagues, clearly strategizing, eyes roving over potential angles to undermine her. A knot tightened in her stomach. She needed to confront him, not to argue, but to gain insight into his perspective. Understanding him could offer her invaluable information she could use to strengthen her own initiative. "Daniel," she initiated, her voice steady, "can we talk for a moment?" The surprise flickered across his features, a brief crack in his armor before he nodded. They stepped aside, and Mia felt as if she was on a tightrope, balancing focus with trepidation. "I want to understand your concerns better," she continued. "What would you need to see in this pilot project to feel secure about its direction? I respect your experience." Daniel met her gaze, skepticism etched into his expression. "Mia, my concerns aren't just about the project itself. They reflect a deeper issue. You're talking about a big shift, and some members aren't ready to embrace the uncertainty it carries." Her pulse quickened, but she took a deep breath. "So how do you?" "I alleviate that uncertainty? I want this to be a collaborative effort." For a heartbeat, Daniel was silent, evaluating her sincerity. "You need to build a stronger narrative around it. Show them not just data, but stories, real examples of what innovation has done for other communities. Connect the dots for them." Mia absorbed his advice, recognizing it as a nugget of wisdom concealed within his guarded demeanor. "That sounds reasonable. I can incorporate testimonials and case studies into the presentation. Great idea. Just remember, this isn't a sprint. You need to prepare for questions that could arise out of fear as well as opportunism. The goal is to not just present, but to convert, he replied. Less confrontational now, a hint of respect creeping into his tone. As they rejoined the rest of the council, Mia felt emboldened by the exchange. She had turned an adversary into an ally, at least for now. The momentum shifted to her favor as members began to refocus on logistics, but she still felt a razor-thin line dividing her goals and the skepticism stacked against her. With every detail discussed, from budgeting to potential obstacles, she meticulously took notes. Each point reinforced the notion that she needed to be way ahead of potential criticisms, fortifying her project against opposition. Yet doubt still gnawed at her. Would it be enough? Was her pace too hasty? The meeting adjourned, and the members filed out, leaving Mia to gather her thoughts. She would not be able to rest easy until she provided every piece of the puzzle, weaving in Daniel's insights, transforming her pilot project from a risk into a considerable opportunity. Before she could escape the confines of self-doubt, she felt an urgent tug in her gut that her fears weren't just fears, they were possibilities, motivations to push her boundaries further. What revelation awaited her in diving deeper into her narrative? Mia took a deep breath and resolved to craft a compelling story, knowing it could help shape perceptions. With optimism lighting her path, she turned her focus on developing a narrative that showcased resilience and success. And as she began to compile the elements needed for her presentation, she knew there was something even more vital at stake: her capacity for transformation, not just of the initiative, but of herself. What would this journey of discovery unveil about her hidden capabilities? She could feel the uncertainty looming as she prepared to navigate this uncharted territory. The challenge before her was not just about convincing the council, but also understanding who she truly was meant to be, both as a leader and a person. As the council room emptied, Mia's mind whirled with logistics and narratives that needed blending into one cohesive story. Her heart raced with an almost palpable determination to stand, not just as a voice, but as a beacon of possibility. If she truly intended to inspire confidence, she needed to articulate not only the facts of her project, but the vision behind it. In the days that followed, Mia found solace in the library, a quiet, serene refuge where she could sift through data, case studies, and testimonials of innovation. Each story she uncovered served as a thread, weaving her project into a tapestry rich with emotion and hope. But beneath this excitement lay her self-imposed pressures. Would the council feel the same passion she felt for the project? During her research sessions, Mia kept reflecting on her conversations with Daniel. His skepticism lingered in her mind. It was a reminder that dismissing concerns would only fortify the walls she was trying to break down. The challenge hung heavy, but rather than retreat, it fueled her resolve. She would present the facts and stories as a collection of lessons learned rather than isolated events. This framing felt necessary as it would not only educate the council, but also resonate with their collective apprehensions. Yet, as she transformed her findings into creative narratives, she felt a creeping insatiability. What if she spent too much time perfecting the presentation? What if the council's expectations shifted again? She wrestled with the fear of inadequacy, scanning her notes filled with scribbled reminders from each data point she sought to highlight. Mia decided that her next step was direct conversation. She reached out to a few council members, testing her stories in smaller, less stressful environments. Each discussion unveiled more insights, but it also presented unforeseen challenges. Some members were intense skeptics, probing into the financial implications with practical lenses, while others leaned more into the emotional narrative she was crafting. After one particular session with Sarah, who had a reputation for being a formidable critic, Mia felt her confidence fluctuating. Sarah asked pointed questions, each one intense enough to force Mia to rethink her approach. How will your innovation actually translate into community impact? Do you believe it's sustainable? Mia paused, reflecting on the stinging accuracy of Sarah's questions. It was not about the innovation alone, but the holistic impact. She realized she needed a narrative that not only showcased what could be done, but also how it would endure over time. The stakes elevated, and with them her internal pressure. Returning home late that night, Mia sat in silence, contemplating Sarah's words. Slowly, she began to jot down thoughts about sustainability and adaptability. She was discovering layers within herself she hadn't tapped into before. This was no longer just about a pilot project. It was about durability, evolution, and resilience, principles that had shaped her upbringing. Mia leaned back in her chair, allowing the quiet to envelop her. The discovery ignited a wave of excitement, but also a deeper commitment to her vision. She was not merely crafting a presentation, she was sculpting a legacy that could impact her peers and their future decisions. Her hands moved swiftly, organizing the new angles she could introduce to the council, aligning personal stories with their professional impact. She needed to frame the narrative as a guide for potential challenges they might face, humanizing the data. Flying several feet above the chaos, she began integrating this newfound depth into her presentation, allowing her fear of failure to transform into a powerful motivation. As the sun rose the next morning, hope sparked within her, along with the realization that she was reshaping her narrative to mirror her own growth. She had come a long way from a hesitant advocate to a fervent believer in her project's potential. But even with this momentum, she sensed an undercurrent of unease. Her next conversation with Daniel felt crucial. Would he embrace her revised approach, or would he remain skeptical of her commitment to understanding their reservations? The moment of truth loomed ahead, and Mia's heart thumped alertly at the impending confrontation, knowing that the next dialogue could either fortify the foundation she was building or shake it to its core. Could she remain unyielding in her conviction amid doubt? The council would soon discover just how strong her resolve had become. Mia's determination morphed into an unyielding force as she prepared to meet Daniel. Morning light filtered through her window, illuminating a space cluttered with notes, case studies, and inspirational quotes she had gathered. As she skimmed over her materials, the diverse narratives jolted her thoughts. The weight of each story bore down on her, but they also represented the hopes she nurtured. This wasn't merely about her ambition. It was about paving pathways for those who had been underserved and often overlooked. She arrived at the coffee shop where they'd agreed to meet, her heart racing with anticipation and a hint of fear. As she strolled inside, she spotted Daniel hunched over his laptop, his brow furrowed in concentration. She took a moment to gather herself, inhaling deeply before approaching him. "Mia," he greeted, though his tone suggested a degree of wariness. She noticed the usual spark in his eyes flicker into something more neutral, possibly skeptical. They exchanged pleasantries, but her focus swirled around the topic at hand. "I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I'd love to gather your thoughts on some new angles I'm developing for the council presentation." Daniel's response was cautious. "I'm willing to listen, but let's be frank. It's not just about passion. You know I have my reservations." Mia felt a pang in her chest, but she steadied her voice. "That's precisely why I wanted to talk. I'm finding that my project needs to illustrate sustainability and adaptability rather than just its innovative aspects." She scanned his face for any signs of affirmation. Would he sense the shift she had made? She detailed her discovery about creating narratives that included the council's practical concerns, along with emotional appeal. Daniel listened, the lines on his forehead softening slightly, though skepticism still lingered in his eyes. "Having a sustainable project is crucial, Mia, and addressing that should have been your starting point." The weight of his words hung in the air, stinging but not unwelcome. It was an opportunity to delve deeper. "True," she admitted, "but I've realized that without storytelling, facts alone fall flat. By humanizing the data, I create a compelling argument that connects with the council emotionally as well as logically. His gaze narrowed, a signal that he was seriously contemplating her words. Did you consider how the council might respond? They could challenge your emotional narratives, and that could derail your progress. Mia's heart raced at the realization. They might, but what if my passion acts as a bridge rather than a barrier? I want to lead them through the rationale and real human experience behind each statistic. Daniel leaned back, folding his arms thoughtfully. So, you believe that through emotional resonance, you can engender not just acceptance, but a sense of urgency? Yes, and I'm working on refining how I present that urgency, she said, her voice steadying. What if I offer them a vision to aspire to, rather than just a set of numbers? His silence was heavy with contemplation, but the shift in his demeanor intrigued her. Perhaps he was beginning to see that Mia had not only refined her argument, but had also matured through the process. I like the way you're thinking, but you need to solidify your foundation. What about projections? Are you ready to back your stories with data that reassure? That question struck at the core of her concerns. She had gleaned an understanding of the art of storytelling, but had she fully embraced the discipline of balance? You're right. I'll integrate the projections, ensuring they complement my narratives. It's about convincing them that fervor rooted in fact can inspire action. Their conversation shifted again, now a rhythm of dialogue, ideas sparking between them, spilling over into other topics of sustainability and community needs. Mia felt the gears of her mind turning optimistically. Yet, deep down, she realized this was only part of a larger narrative. As they wrapped up, she sensed that the foundation she was building was beginning to harden. Yet, the next challenge loomed. Daniel would become an ally, but time would tell how the council would receive her vision. With newfound clarity, they parted ways, leaving Mia with mixed emotions, a budding optimism shadowed by uncertainty. The council meeting loomed closer, and as the day slipped by, Mia understood the stakes were rising. Could she truly transform her personal conviction into collective belief? With each twist in her journey, the countdown to the pivotal presentation weighed heavier, testing the very limits of her resolve. Mia Thompson stood resolutely before the council, her heart steady and her voice unwavering. Months of preparation, countless hours spent refining her narrative, and the unexpected insights gained from her discussions with Daniel had led to this moment. She clasped her father's journal in one hand, a reminder of the dreams she sought to manifest, and approached the podium with a blend of vulnerability and power. "Thank you for the opportunity to present again," she began, scanning the room filled with council members, whose faces were reflecting a mix of skepticism and curiosity. The atmosphere felt electric, alive with the potential for change. Today, I want to share not just numbers or projections, but a comprehensive vision for the future of Ashwood's energy landscape. As she delved into her presentation, Mia integrated the data she had painstakingly gathered, crafting a narrative interwoven with the personal stories of Ashwood's residents. She talked about families struggling with energy bills, children playing in parks shaded by trees that were threatened by the consequences of the current energy model. Each story humanized the data, transforming it from cold statistics into rich, vibrant testimonials. I believe that we can harness the geothermal energy of Mount Sibyl, creating a sustainable future for our community while honoring the legacy my father envisioned, a community that thrives without sacrificing its identity. She articulated passionately, feeling the energy in the room shift. Mia noticed nodding heads among the council members. They were leaning in, intrigued. She introduced the pilot project, outlining its phases with clarity and precision, addressing potential concerns and preempting criticisms. This isn't just an idealistic dream, it's a structured proposal that includes data collection and community involvement. If we demonstrate success on a smaller scale, we can build a model for future adaptation. But just as she felt momentum building, Daniel arose once more, his brow furrowed. Mia, can you assure us that there won't be unforeseen consequences to this initiative? The investment is substantial and the risk cannot be overstated. Mia took a breath, grounding herself in the confidence that had been nurtured through her preparation. That's precisely why the pilot is essential. It provides a safety net, an opportunity for iteration and adaptation. We can progress with caution and intelligence as we evaluate performance and feedback every step of the way. The council murmured among themselves, and Mia pressed on, fueled by the fire of her convictions. Daniel's brow slowly unfurled, and she sensed she was making headway. I understand fears of the unknown. Change can feel daunting, but we have an opportunity to redefine our legacy. Imagine Ashwood leading the way in sustainable energy, an example for other communities. This is our chance to champion something greater than ourselves. Silence enveloped the room, the weight of her words hanging in the air, and for the first time she saw a flicker of hope in the council members' eyes. The chairwoman leaned forward. Mia, in your narrative, you've illustrated a clear passion combined with a feasible plan. However, we need to ensure there's concrete follow-through before moving forward. Absolutely. I propose we set check-in points after every phase of the pilot project, allowing the council to review its progress and address concerns in real time. This transparent communication empowers us to adapt swiftly and maintain community trust. Mia replied, her spirit ignited. After what felt like an eternity, the chairwoman glanced around the room. Let's vote on proceeding with the pilot project. As hands went up one by one, Mia's breath caught in her throat. The weight of her father's dreams and the burden of her own aspirations pressed heavily against her chest. By a slim majority, we vote in favor, the chairwoman exclaimed, a mix of surprise and excitement reverberating through the chamber. Mia felt an overwhelming wave of relief wash over her. She had not only preserved her father's legacy, but had also claimed her own voice in a field where she had once felt silenced. The cheers from the audience, a blend of community members and allies, swirled around her. She had accomplished more than she had dared to dream. Back outside under the bright light of day, Mia reveled in an exhilarating sense of satisfaction. Each step was laced with newfound confidence, a silent promise to both herself and her father. She had learned to confront doubt with courage, transforming every ounce of fear into a catalyst for connection and community. Feeling empowered, she thought of how far she had come from that initial meeting with the council, the weight of inadequacy replaced by recognition of her competence. She realized that this journey had not just been about convincing those in power, but also about claiming her place within the narrative of Ashwood. Mia Thompson walked away from the council chamber buoyed by aspirations fulfilled and the knowledge that she could carve her path forward, one filled with innovation, passion, and a commitment to community. This was just the beginning, and she was ready for the challenges to come. Now, don't wait another moment. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories of personal growth and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It genuinely helps us share these impactful narratives. Comment your reactions and theories about Mia's journey and the resolution, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring conclusion. Let's spread the power of perseverance and hope.